with.
When I think about those nights in Montreal, all I think about is weed. Memories of city lights and packing bowls.
Unmuted. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Quebec Connection. How's it going? We recognize the fact that we are on Ktunaxa territory here in British Columbia, and it is Indigenous Peoples Day in the United States. Joe Biden actually made an
Amazing.
executive decision and turned Columbus Day, which now is
Yeah.
Indigenous Peoples Day of the United States. So we have our own Truth and Reconciliation Day on September the 30th, which we just celebrated. And yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because I think it's we're not celebrating Thanksgiving. We had a turkey last week for our anniversary, and I know a lot of Indigenous people find this a really distasteful time of year. And I think that what we're going to do next year is on the 30th of September. That will be our Thanksgiving. That will be our giving thanks for and
Truth
thanking.
and reconciliation.
Well, thanking
Yeah.
like I said, I would have more respect for people if they would acknowledge the fact that these communities is Ktunaxa territory, and that they would actually say, that we are guests here and be thankful for that on Thanksgiving.
100%. I mean, I think hopefully we're moving into that consciousness, but I was with a couple Americans earlier and I kind of like to jab them and say, "Hey, I'm so glad that your leader of your country followed our lead and turned Columbus Day into Indigenous Peoples Day." And they were, well, I think it was in the works before that, whatever.
Oh yeah, trying to
But
give it to Trump. No, Trump turned it down. Trump said no. In order for it to be an
yeah,
executive order from the president means that it doesn't go through Senate, it doesn't go through Congress, it goes straight to Joe Biden's desk.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
an
No,
executive
it's
order, like when Trump decided to, exonerate and fucking let fucking pieces of shit like, Roger Stone go, and,
yeah, yeah,
those are
yeah.
executive, orders. So fuck you and
I
your
know it's
Trump
weird.
shit.
They can use them for good and they can use them for evil, like Trump did. But this one is for good because
That piece of shit says he's coming back.
Columbus Day has got to go, and now it's gone, and it's first time for them, and it was first time for us this year. But I think it's a good thing to change the tradition, like you said, and be thankful on Truth and
And I know
Reconciliation
people are
Day
pissed
to
off that
go
Trudeau
forward.
didn't stop at places and stuff. You know what? Here's my stance on that. They had the ceremony the evening before. He spoke then. He left that day for the people of the First Nations to have their own day. They didn't need politicians and their fucking photo ops and all this stuff. Never mind the security and all the shit that goes along with it. Everybody trying to get selfies with Trudeau. It would have been all washed over with political fucking photo ops and shit. The fucking actual reconciliation day would have not even noticed or even recognized by their own people because too many of them had been running out trying to get a picture with Trudeau. Seriously. Like, let's see it the way it was. He went out to the coast because maybe he was thinking about his family too. He's lost his father. He's lost his brother. He's lost, his mother's, got disabilities and stuff, her mental health issues. So maybe he just needed a day to fucking kick back. Is he not allowed to have a day off? No matter what he does?
I think he just should have waited till the next day. But
I don't care that he
nevertheless,
went. I don't care that he went.
He's
I think
brought
it.
it in, and it's a first for Canada to move forward. And I get it that people don't want to celebrate. We don't have to call it Thanksgiving anymore. We can call it Harvest Feast, like it really is, like in
It
Europe.
is
And
in Europe or Oktoberfest, like in
yeah,
Germany, where they, drink, like you
we
said, what
can
they do,
move
they
on
drink beer
from.
and fucking eat sausage so they can fucking get fat for the winter because by spring there's no food left.
Yeah,
Right?
fatten up because likely you're gonna die in the winter because so many people did.
Right?
Period.
They did. It got really cold in Germany too. Like that's the thing. Like they were talking today about carbon emissions actually, and why Canadians have such a carbon footprint, and because of our heating and stuff. And it's not comparable to compare us with our carbon footprint to say like even the UK or the US because of our coldness. So it's comparable to compare us to Finland and our carbon emission footprints, and that our households ourselves, like our own households, have a higher carbon imprint than some businesses do because of our food intake, our heating, our clothing. All these things leave carbon footprint. Sorry, excuse me.
Hmm.
So I was listening to this and how Canada's never going to get to the emissions levels because Canadians do recycle. Like I'm not saying that we don't. We're not trying, but every household has to cut their emissions down to zero. And I don't know how any Canadian family of any, or even a single person could make a zero carbon imprint. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
I
saying? Like,
mean,
that would mean you don't heat your house, and we live in
yeah.
Canada. Sorry, it's winter time. You don't use a cell phone because it's using your cell phone, using your internet, using any of that stuff leaves carbon imprint. So that means we'd all be sitting in a cave fucking with a fire, fucking freezing, and then we'd still be putting off emissions because we'd have to there'd be fucking smoke from the fire. So, I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm hoping technology saves us on this front, like that.
You know what? Even
Somehow it could
electricity
reverse.
and all this wind power, it all still requires plastics, and uranium and all this other stuff that's still having to be mined. So we might not want to mine coal, but we're still mining lithium. We're still mining fucking copper, and we're still mining other things, diamonds. So they're still digging into the fucking earth and mining. They
But
just don't
isn't
want to
there
have.
a way, what about solar energy and
Still
wind?
needs plastics.
Isn't there a better and more efficient way to do wind energy? Like we are getting more evolved on these things, and then also like, can't we like collect rain water and like do water?
No,
just
because we've
for,
got such a drought that's happened over the last, like, our that's the thing. Our climates are changing so much that like this summer in British Columbia, we went fucking 55 days without rain. It was
I
so
know, that's
fucking
what I'm
dry out
saying,
here.
like,
Like, so how can you collect rain? Like, even the snowpacks aren't enough to keep our fucking water levels
well,
up
here's
because
the
we're not
thing.
getting
Like, I
we're not
read
getting
that
it.
in Saudi Arabia, it got so hot one day. I don't know if they sent radiation or something into a cloud, but they purposely created rain. I mean, I feel like we're gonna. I don't even know if that. I don't know
Then we're
what
fucking with
they
our
actually
weather.
did. I just think I could be totally wrong about the radiation or whatever the hell they did, but apparently they manufactured rain.
Yeah, they can seed the clouds to manufacture rain, but it's still not good for the environment. That's really bad.
Yeah,
for the environment.
I don't know. I wonder about the consequences, but I'd like to think that maybe maybe the technology hasn't been invented yet, but there should be a way to get water that's easier than how we're doing it. I think.
Yeah, I right?
I don't know what the.
Well, there's
I think
also
the answer
those straws and stuff the eco straws and stuff that you can actually like drink puddle water and it cleans it. Like
you
that's
just
what
what?
like
Like
they've got these eco straws and that's what they've been taking over to Africa that actually like clean the water without you like a puddle of fucking sludgy fucking gross looking water. And they've got chemicals now that they can put into that fucking water in a jug and it clears it up and cleans the water right there then.
That's crazy.
Right,
That's crazy.
and that's what they've been
crazy.
doing in Africa too. Like we scream about not having clean drinking water here. Well, they've had to come up with solutions in Africa and other places too. So
Can't they collect it like from the humidity? Like, can't they make water out of the humidity somehow? Like, I thought they could, like even using plastic bottles. Apparently, I don't know.
that could be possible too. Like I said, there's so much research being done, and there's so many different things being done right now. Like. I mean, let's face it, we're evolving. Like, if people want to believe in creation, well, if creation was the way it was, we'd still be swaddled in fucking clothes and fucking in a manger. You know what I mean? Like, sorry to tell you. We wouldn't even be wrapped in we wouldn't even be washing our fucking balls. We'd be fucking still stinking fucking using frankincense.
God, we were so dirty.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Fucking using essential oils to fucking rub the fucking, the dirt off ourselves and fucking not bathing and, you know what I mean?
God.
Like, fuck. So, like, seriously, like, we have evolved.
Dirties.
So much. Like, we have. So that's evolution. That's not creation. Because, like I said, if we were created, we'd still be wrapped in swaddling clothing, fucking using frankincense to make ourselves not stink. So, man is, like, evolved quite a bit. But again, you look at the whole thing with water, like, there's so much archaeological stuff coming up right now. Like, it's hard to keep up. To be fair, it's really hard to keep up. But we were going to talk a little bit about some cannabis and CRB and some political stuff. So I know people have been bitching about people being on CRB. And that's my attention deficit. We'll talk about that too because it's Mental Health Awareness Month.
For sure.
But I wanted to talk a little bit about cannabis legalization and how, it's coming up here on the 17th. It'll be 3 years. October
Wow.
17th that we've had legalization in Canada. And I know,
Yeah.
like, for you and I, like, we both said the same thing as kind of put us out of business. Like, we were, helping patients and
We're
stuff.
victims of our own activism.
Well, that too.
That's how it feels.
But right, we're victims of our own activism, but we were helping patients, and now that we don't need the patients don't come for help anymore. Is more or less what it is. It's not that we wouldn't be doing it if we still could. Prices and stuff have gone down. Like if you really actually want to buy from the black market, but they're not, because I went on a website the other day and they're still charging $150 and $160 and $200 an ounce in the black market for cannabis. Okay, but you can go to the store and buy an ounce for $100. You can go to the res and buy an ounce for $100. Sometimes you can go to the store and buy an ounce. My girlfriend did last week for $60.
I think they've been really going after the online businesses too. Like, are they? How many? Like, they must have knocked many of them.
I don't know. Park
off,
Cargo
don't
and
you
all
think?
those ones are still up, but their prices are ridiculous. I don't even know how they stay in business, to be fair, because they're still running black market prices. I'm sorry, I'm not paying $200 an ounce for pot anymore. I won't. I won't. Not if I could go to a store, buy legal. I know, not sprayed with anything. There's no bugs in it. There's whatever, There's issues with licensed producers too. I'm not saying they're all perfect, but they are getting better. The quality's getting better. I will say that right from the get-go. Not that I like buying from the legal market, but even the res is charging GST and PST. And I don't know if it's because,
That's
I don't know if
surprising.
I don't know if
That's
no,
a
no,
bit
I'm not kidding you.
surprising, actually.
No, I'm not kidding you. If I go to Two Nugs out here on the Tanaha, it's called Two Nugs. That's what it's called. If I go
Two
to
Nugs?
Two Nugs, yeah, Two Nugs. So if I go out to Two Nugs, I don't know if it's because I'm, a whitey, saying, they charge me $7 on every $100 I spend. I'm being charged GST and PST.
All right.
Because it's, 7%.
Yeah.
Pretty. Well, maybe I'm only being charged one of them. Maybe I'm only being charged provincial sales tax and not general GST, because if it was GST and PST, I think it would be 14% out here. But because our sales tax is 5, and I think GST is 5, and ours is 7. I don't even know right now. I better check that. Actually, let's be accurate when we're putting out information. Anyways, I'm still paying something out there when I go.
Well, you're still paying considerably less than $160.
Right, and they would charge me, but they're like, it's not like they're not charging GST and PST either, because online they are. That's another fucking funny thing. Right? Like, GST is... How much is GST in Canada? It is 5%. So, and then PST in BC...
Because PST is different for each province.
Right. I think
Quebec?
it's 7% here. So we're paying 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% on every item with PST and GST. PST in Quebec is... We will tell
it's
you.
the highest, actually. I think we're number one.
3. You have harmonized sales tax too. Actually, the province of Quebec charges you 14.975%. Your PST is 9.75%, and GST is 5. So you're paying a harmonized sales tax, which is the two. That's what they call it, harmonized sales tax. The same thing with the two of them together is 14.9%. And I'm paying 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're paying 12.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Quebec is the highest probably in Canada.
It sounds like it, because like I said, GST is only 5%, which is, I shouldn't say only, it's 5%. But yeah, your PST is almost 10%. 9975, it might as well be 10%. So that's 15% sales tax. We're paying 12. So that's what so again, like that's what they're charging at the store. So. You add all that together, and this all has to go into, GST revenue at Revenue Canada. Every store that sells and, whatever, has to send their GST check to Revenue Canada. It goes into the general PST, GST coffers. The PST is separately sent. This is the kicker on this one. The PST is separately sent from the store to the province. The GST is then sent to the federal government for GST, and all the cannabis revenue, the federal government then kicks back 75% to the province. So basically the province is making 100% profit on cannabis because they're getting the PST plus 75% of the federal money.
You're getting hell. They I was.
So I'd like to ask these premiers, especially Jason Kenney, Where the fuck's the money, dude? And don't tell me you're putting it into law enforcement. Because I know here for a fact, they haven't. There's no special unit for cannabis here. There's no pot police here. We've got one liquor inspector that goes around to all the liquor stores and all the bars, and now he's picked up the 8 stores in town that he's going to check once every 6 months. So don't tell me that there's these special fucking law enforcement for fucking cannabis stores. There's not. That's bullshit.
We just have them in Quebec, which, you know what, the weird thing is, I think they're paid through they're called like...
Are they cannabis cops?
They're paid through Ministry of Health. I feel like Health Canada's paying. Quebec is like, yeah, no, I find it...
Okay, so what are they called? And where are they located?
Called, something like cannabis, Santé, like cannabis...
Let's Google this. Cannabis police in Quebec. We'll Google it. We'll find out if they actually...
They're like they're with the Ministry of Health of Quebec. They're Santé, which then is like paid through Health Canada, I think. I don't know. That'd be good to know. I wish a journalist would like make.
Montreal police can smoke cannabis but can't come to work high. October 18th, 2018. So there might not be any fucking.
No, they're there. I was rated at.
Here we are. Service de Police SPVM. Here they are.
That's the regular cops.
No, legalization. No, this is what it's under. SPVM. Oh. I'm Googling it right now.
Okay.
Cannabis regulation in Quebec is defined by the Act to consume the Société Québécoise de Cannabis and to enact Cannabis Regulation Act and to amend various highway safety related provisions. So this is basically cannabis possession, cultivation, cannabis use. They might be different in Quebec because of the non-cultivation law, right? And that would be the difference for you because they've got this non-cultivation law. You can't have any cultivation.
But also, like, apparently the cannabis cops have been going after people online businesses, and they've been
okay. Well, it's here. It's called. It is. It's SPVM is what it's called, and that's the Société Québécoise de Cannabis. That's how they're calling it. Or what they call it, looking for information. You can cannabis possession, filing a complaint, road safety, and useful links. So there's all kinds of information here about this special police force. But this is like it's not a special police force. By the looks of it, it's like it's for everything. Background checks, Canada Revenue Agency. Like this is just regular police force. This is not separate from any other police force. If you have problems, call 911. I'm on the page right now.
Yeah, I feel like, I saw them, they had different uniforms, they came in to this lounge, and I feel like like the Ministry of Health cannabis cops. I don't know, like it's...
No, I'm trying to look, because they'd have to have some information. Cannabis cops in Quebec, there aren't any. It's the same as the regular SV, it's your licensing, yeah, there isn't any. That's what it's telling me here. I'm just saying.
Go Ministry of Health, cannabis cops in Quebec, maybe.
Cannabis.
Ministry of Health, because I'm pretty sure it's through the Ministry of Health. And I just vividly remember seeing their uniforms. They had separate
cannabis cops and Ministry of Health. No, Loretta, there's nothing. In fact, Montreal police can smoke cannabis but can't come to work. It will be up to colleagues and supervisors to speak up. That's all that's coming up. Like that's when I Google search anything for cops with cannabis in Montreal.
I'm gonna do a little check on that. I'll do a little check on that later because they came in to this lounge. They had like Ministry of Health cannabis, something, and. I find it hard to believe that they disbanded them without there being any news. But
they might because, like I said, there's cannabis in Quebec. I'm just gonna keep looking, because the only legal way to buy cannabis in Quebec is through the Société Québécoise de Cannabis. So it's the SQDC, which is illegal to buy for your cannabis from a friend or from a website other than SQDCs. If you're caught, you can be charged with a crime. The rules for medical cannabis are different. 7 things you should know about cannabis in Quebec. This is good. We should probably... Oh, no, we got it. The law by topic. Okay. This is the law by topic. 2018, however, legalization doesn't mean anything goes here. It doesn't mean anything goes. Here are the basic rules you should know. Cannabis is only legal if you buy from the SQDC, which is the Société Québécoise de Cannabis, which is I don't know if that's how
The
you say it or not.
monopoly, the Soviet Union
So
monopoly.
it's basically the same as our LCB here, right? They've got the liquor control, which is BC LCB, right? Because it's still all governmentally ran here too, like our liquor control boards. But it's like they're government liquor store. You can't have a private liquor store in British Columbia. Like it's in Alberta, you can have your own liquor store. You can have your own you know what I mean? Okay, the rules for medical
In
cannabis
Ontario,
are different.
if you have money, you can get it's not government, it's
Don't
private.
share cannabis with anybody under the age of 21 in Quebec. You cannot consume cannabis in public. You cannot consume vape, smoke, etc. cannabis in public places in Quebec. Listed public places include all outside public places, public roads, sideways, bus shelters, terrace or outdoor other commercial spaces. You can't smoke on a bike or in a car if it's parked, even if you're not one driving. You can consume cannabis at home, but your landlord can say no.
It's really more restrictive than it was.
Where are your limits to possess fresh cannabis? You can have 150 grams of cannabis, liquid cannabis 2,100 grams, and extract, shatter, hash, and all 7.5 grams legally in Quebec. Please note there are some places you cannot possess cannabis, which are schools, universities, and daycares. You can't grow cannabis at home in Quebec.
That's being challenged by the. There was there was a good article.
Yeah, but it was appealed, I guess. Yeah, Al sent that to us. So this is Ministry of Justice. No, this is Justice. This is all through the Justice Department in Quebec. Partners members are Bar, Chamber of Commerce, the Ministry of Justice of Canada, and the Justice of Quebec. There are no. There's no separate. Not that I can see now. And you know what? They might have just found them. Because you know what? After a year, Loretta, they might have found out that they really don't have anything to do.
Well, they what were they doing? Like, they came into this lounge. That was one. But seriously, I've heard that, they probably took down quite a few online businesses in Quebec. And I'm sure people, who are doing the online business thing are not doing it in Quebec as much as maybe, I don't know, some BC seems to be like a big go-to province for online stuff. I always hear people saying they're buying stuff online from BC. It seems to be something I've heard for years. You know what I mean? So
I think most of these these online dispensaries are out of Vancouver. I mean, I know that a lot of them are. And I mean, there's the thing. It's the inventory to have some of that kind of stuff. Like, seriously, like you have to have more than one partner. It's unlikely. It is still big business. I mean, I know that there are people that still have big medical licenses. So these people with big, but it's funny. These people that had big medical licensing before, now they're all hooked into the legalization and legal market, running LPs and stuff. They seem to be too fucking sick. Just saying. You know what I mean? It's awfully funny how all these people that have these great big medical licenses for being disabled and being so sick are now licensed producers that don't need fucking licensing, and they don't appear to be too sick. Just saying. That's my fucking shitty humor coming out, being sarcastically fucking truthful, because that's the truth. How many of those fucks bought their license? They paid $2,500 and $5,000 and had fucking paid lawyers to get them their fucking paperwork just so they could fucking grow thousands of plants to exploit the fucking medical program. Why do you think we had so much problem keeping the medical program fucking on the up and up? Because we had so many of these fucks fucking with it. Straight goods, right? It's that whole it's kind of like the vaccines, like I said the other day. It's kind of like having those bad kids in class, the two of them, that, won't sit still and won't settle down. So the whole class has to stay after school and write fucking lines.
It's true, but I wish, we could have, the government could have tamped down on that by saying, no, look, there's going to be goddamn limitations.
They are now.
Like the government.
They probably are now. We had that consultation. I haven't heard anything more.
I feel like the government wanted these bad actors so they could kind of fuck us all. Because why didn't they, restrict them? They should have.
Well, they busted one in Ontario not too long ago, a big one.
I mean, I know a guy here who was got something I don't know, 100 plus grams a day. Please. You know what I mean? Please. Yeah. That's just so
We know plenty of them. And let's face it, we've got some that say they absolutely need it. And there's other ones that, I don't know where. I was given 14 grams a day.
How can you need it? How can you consume that? Come on. What are you just hooked up to an IV of fucking cannabis oil all day long.
No, apparently, fucking, Allison Murden can pound back 256 grams of cannabis a day. Didn't you know?
Well, okay, I will say she's an exception because she has MS like severely, and I know it's keeping her alive. But I would say she's an exception. But like, there's so many who are not exceptions. That's the truth.
Right.
But
like, I can't even consume the 14 that I was prescribed, to be fair.
Well, that's what I'm like. It just seems like I get it, like that people would want more because whatever people
plant
are starving.
Count. It's about plant count, and that's what it. But like, to be fair, now you can't even sell it. You can't even give a pound of pot away. Even the two nugs out there, you got a pound of weed that you grew. They ain't gonna pay any more than $500 for it. Yeah, and they tell you that we're not paying you any, and that's black market, $500 for a pound of pot when they used to be fucking.
$2,800.
I remember paying $3,500 for a pound of pot.
I know. I mean, it just like that's why.
Back in the old days when it was $4,000 a pound, back in the 80s, wow. Come on, like, wow. And it was crap too, like. So like and then they're talking about all this mold and stuff, and I'm thinking, bud rot, and I'm thinking, how many times, like they've had to recall it on the licensed producer end of things, like they found some bud rot and some stuff, so the licensed producer has recalled all this pot. I'm thinking, how many times I bought fucking moldy shit from a fucking dealer and nobody gave me a fucking refund and nobody fucking recalled the weed? So how many fucking pounds of moldy fucking shit did some fucking asshole dealer roll out and make $4,000 a pound on? And you're crying about at least the license, and I'm not giving making extensions.
No, look at least they have, that's what
they have some regulation. Exactly. They have some repercussions. Because how many fucking assholes were driving around in fucking, $100,000 cars off the fucking moldy shit they fucking sold you? You know what I mean? Or fucking mushrooms that didn't get you high, or a fucking pot that was balanced and all the keef had been taken off or had already been previously washed, and they're still charging you fucking $200 an ounce for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and these things happen, and over the years that I've smoked cannabis, I've been ripped off so many fucking times by some fucking drug dealer, because that's what they were, including myself at one point. I can't say that I was. I'm not trying to. But I'm getting older now, and I'm really seeing that, like, I hated the legalization program. Loretta, you and I both know that I was like, it's an elitist program. You got to have money. You got to have your head shoved up somebody's ass, blah, blah, blah. All these people are getting rich. But you know what?
But
I'm seeing the benefits now.
I hate poison more. And they poison the weed. They put terrible things in it. And like you said, people were sick, and they were buying moldy weed. I mean, no, I'm glad that part's gone.
But also, too, you have to look at the fact that the revenue that's coming in paid for CRB possibly. I'm not saying that that's the actual connection to it, but I'm assuming that has a lot to do with the extra funding the funds that the Canadian government has access to right now. And I'm thankful that they had the access to whatever, like, maybe it was tucked away in a back bank account that they weren't talking about. Because you don't hear them talking about cannabis money. You don't hear them talking about, we've got an overabundance of fucking funds because of cannabis. They're not saying that. But I'm, like I said, everybody's screaming about where all that CRB money came. Unemployment, yes, because I know a lot of people pay into unemployment, and a lot of them had to take their unemployment. Because people that worked took their unemployment. It wasn't just free money. Like, there was a lot of people that lost that were laid off, that Alvin was on unemployment. The unemployment that he pays in out of every paycheck that he fucking... Because when you work, you pay into unemployment. You pay into Canada pension. You pay into taxes. So all these other people that didn't pay into taxes as self-employed were the people that took the CRB. So they didn't pay any taxes or unemployment. They might have paid taxes, but they wouldn't have been paying any unemployment. Why they couldn't qualify for unemployment? Why the CRB was put into effect? But they had to have money for that, and they haven't been saying we're going to raise your income tax, and they aren't saying they're going to have to add GST. In fact, fucking O'Toole was going to give you free GST for a month when he was running for fucking for office. So where did you think he was going to get the free money fucking for the GST? Oh, the cannabis fucking fund.
Yeah.
So I wish they'd start talking about this.
It would be. I wish the Liberals. I don't know where CERB's at. I'm hoping
it's cancelled. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna extend it or not. I haven't heard anything. As of October the 23rd, it's done. As far as I was. Yeah. As far as I know.
It would really be awesome if a universal income program.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If there's money for CRB and the cannabis money is
the
there,
cannabis coffers, that'd be cool.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Like, there's got to be a way to bring out a universal benefit with that. I had something else I was going to say too. I totally fucking slipped my mind. That's that goddamn hamster squirrel one. It fucking jumped off the hamster wheel. Oh, but it's
Well,
7:30,
we
so
should
we'll take
go
a
on a
quick
break,
break.
and then we
Yeah.
can talk about hamster head.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be right back. You've been listening to us live on paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
20, we believe.
Right, we are back. I'm talking, I don't know, stuff probably we shouldn't be talking about during the break.
Thank
Anyway,
God for that mute button.
I would say that in public too. I don't really give a shit. To be honest, I don't care. I would say that loud and proudly too. I do not support Jody Wilson-Raybould. I do not. I never did, and I don't care what anybody thinks. I have my reasons for that, but like I said, all that SNC Lavaland, the Kicking Horse Canyon, and we need that through this area. And that's what I say. What, nobody gives a fuck about BC? Because we need stuff too, right? Quebec needs stuff. So does Ontario. So does Saskatchewan. So does Manitoba.
Yeah,
But
no,
that
people
Kicking
do
Horse
care.
Pass is a main throughway from the West Coast all the way to Montreal for goods to get through. And it was so fucking narrow, and there were so many deaths on that fucking highway through the Coquihalla there. If they didn't widen that piece of fucking... And it's been like that for 30 years. People were dying. Trucks just go off the side of that fucking thing daily. especially in the winter time, right? So that pass really had to be taken care of.
And
Like I
is
said,
it going to be?
they're almost done. They've got it open this week. It's almost completed. That's the whole point. But if she would have had her way, SNC would have fucking gotten taken out, and none of these projects, these big projects that have been being done on the highways, because even the national parks are all federal money and federal projects. SNC is the one that's doing that, and it wouldn't be being done, and that's just the facts. The same, like I said, with the bridges and stuff, that all the bridge projects across this country that SNC have done and are doing, especially in BC, we've had 12 bridges actually repaired in the last 5 years. Those are huge billion-dollar projects, or million-dollar projects, and between the province and the federal money that's come into British Columbia since Trudeau's been in power for infrastructure, we've got new bridges that had never been replaced in decades. Like, some of them were fucking like still wood.
Wow.
So
really that old and rickety? Wow.
Yeah, that old and that rickety. Not kidding you. We still have 10 more to do in British Columbia. We've got a lot of bridges here because there's lots of water here.
No, well, there's some big projects that are being, pounced around here. The underground tunnel from some North Shore to Quebec City. That one's controversial. But, and SNC Lavalin is a huge company that's done a lot of stuff for a long time. Like you said, it's Harper did a lot of deals with them, and that was an unfortunate part of the history of
the Liberal Party, right? And like I said, I feel like she could have done so much good if she would have just. And it's not that she had to toe the party line. It wasn't about that. It was her sticking her face into something that she never had to bother with. Because it was stuck at the bottom of her desk. It wasn't on the top. It wasn't something that she needed to get involved in. She really didn't. And she fucking chose to for some reason. And nobody will ever know the reasoning as to why she did that. Only she will. I guess if you buy her book, but I'm not buying her book. I ain't giving her my money. I'm just not.
Yeah. No,
like, that's just how I feel. I'm just not. I just bought Prevail, though. The one about Trump that Bob Woodworth just finished writing again with all the...
What's it called?
Prevail.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of news about Trump and how there's a lot of fear that he is really going to try and do a coup. That all the...
Oh, he's going to try and run again. He's not going to bother doing a coup. He's going to try running again, and then he's going to call that a rigged election again, too, and then there's going to be a great big upheaval. It'll be 2024.
Well, I think the coup will happen.
Yeah, it'll be then. But that's if he doesn't die first, because he's 100. He might not live that long. You can't. What are they going to do? Chronologically keep his head alive for him? Like,
I don't. Well, I know. Like, he's got such bad karma because he keeps pimping this fucking lie, and so many Republicans believe it that the election was stolen from him. And he's
it's starting to become
tyrant. He's
I know.
got all the markings of a Nazi, and and he's just I don't know. And he fucking got COVID. Why is he? He's just he's evil, and yet he's thriving. But I don't know. I feel like something's gonna happen to him because he just can't keep on causing so much harm because he's such a narcissist. He only cares about himself. So
that'll lead us right into the next topic. That'll lead us right into the next topic because it is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, I mean,
So that leads us into the next topic about mental.
Politics is mentally ill, right now.
You have to be mentally ill if you. I think that's what it is, though. I think you really have to be a little bit fucking squirrely to fucking follow politics and to be the political junkies that we are. I think we all have to be a bit crazy for that. To be fair.
I feel we're really cursed being political junkies.
Yeah.
It's worse than being a heroin addict. I think, you know what I mean? It's the worst kind of junk, because you so want to believe that politics can make things better, and it has. It's made a lot of things better, but the psychopaths, and now who's going to want to get into politics? Who's going to want to be one of those city councilors or at those schools in the United States when all these wacko anti-vaxxers show up and start saying you're raping my child for making them wear a mask. You're a child abuser. Like they say all this crazy shit,
Yeah, I
right? Like so,
know.
only like the nasty mofo's are gonna want to get into politics. That's how democracy gets destroyed. Sadly, I think. But anyways, going on to mental illness and let's share our own. I'm fucking full of anxiety. How about you?
Like I said, seasonal anxiety, seasonal depression is a huge thing for people at this time of year too, because the seasons are changing, and winter's coming, and winter's really hard on a lot of people because we don't get the lack of sunlight and everything. So we know that Canadians are lacking in vitamin B and D, and that's a huge thing for mental health, seasonal depression, especially for a lot of people out there. Myself, I'm attention deficit, undiagnosed, and I know this. My love, bless my mother's heart, at 75. I mentioned it to her. She goes, "Oh yeah, you were hyperactive as a kid. I had to sit in class." And I remember my mom having to sit with me in grade 2. I was a kid that was always chatting. I'm sure my friends that have known me, like I've got a girlfriend that I've known since elementary school, will tell you I was a bully. I chatted all the time and I didn't shut up. And I cringe at the thought of being a bully, but apparently I was.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean? I'm so good. I mean, I've got these friends of mine that I went to elementary school with still, and they just say, "You're so different than you were when you were a kid." And I'm like, why was I that bad? But apparently I was a little rammy. And I can be a little rammy now and outspoken now, so I kind of see that. But apparently...
What do you think, what was behind it, though? Like, why do you think you were acting that way? I mean, because the bully can often...
Attention deficit, because I was always needing attention. So, good behavior, bad behavior, when you're attention deficit, you just want attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I don't think it was anything at home. Well, that's a whole different ballgame. We won't even get into that. We won't even talk about that. But again, like the chatty Cathy. So the attention deficit and the hamster wheel that's always going in my brain. So I watched a program, I think I mentioned this before on PBS one night, that it was attention deficit. It was the guys from the Red Green Show. And, bells and whistles started going off in my head going. So I talked to Mom, and apparently I was prescribed medication. She can't remember what kind, but she didn't ever give it to me. So I talked to my doctor on Friday and explained to her I've been having night sweats and stuff too, premenopause and methotrexate and all kinds of shit, and about this issue I'm having with not being able to finish a load of laundry. And that's how I explained it. I can't complete anything. My brain, I'm all over the fucking place. I feel like I'm running on a treadmill every single day. And so I've got paperwork that I filled out for public mental health, and I'm going to go and see if they can figure out why I'm such a fucking squirrel.
Well, you know what?
Which leads to anxiety and depression too, right?
Yeah,
but that's the thing. They say I have an anxiety diagnosis. Like my doctor diagnosed me with anxiety, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, just as a GP. Like she's not a specialist, but she says, yeah, definitely, because I'm always anxious. I talk fast. I'm always on speed mode, right? Like,
yes.
And I've always spoken really quickly. Like that was one thing everybody always said to me, like, can you slow the fuck down? I can't understand what you're saying. Because I always talked really fast for some reason. Even when with this program, if I get too excited, I have to actually sit back and breathe and make sure that I'm slowing down my words. And Al Rapp actually helped me with that when I first got started on the air, because I would just and that's what it would sound like.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you're self-aware, and it's good. You're moving forward to deal with this issue. I'm really proud of you, and looking forward. And you can help others by talking about it. I think that's what's so important. Because everybody's also got COVID brain from COVID, and is suffering a kind of probably a COVID mental illness as well. So, whether it's anxiety, depression, like things have been amplified in that department because of COVID, like for sure, for everyone, I think,
Right.
So
I know more people are using alcohol and drugs now because of boredom, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people say, well, what leads to people using drugs and alcohol? A lot of times it's like not trauma; it's just straight up boredom. They're bored stiff. They're stuck in a house watching the same TV programs, doing nothing. And people will admit, why'd you start drinking? Because I was bored. And that's a lot of, like even when teens and young children start using drugs and alcohol, it leads up a lot of the 4 or 5 things you'll find in a handful of a lot of these questionnaires is boredom. People don't know how to entertain themselves anymore because we're so used to social media and the TV, the blooper box, right? When we were kids, it's always, the TV babysat your kids, didn't they? Cartoons and, whatever. So our brains are so used to being stimulated by artificial things, whether it be TV, whether it be fucking social media, a screen in front of our faces, that when we don't have something that's stimulating our brain all the time, our brains are bored. So let's try drugs. Let's try alcohol. Let's try something that's going to stimulate our brain a little way. So a lot of times people say, well, it's trauma, it's this and that. They're saying, there's new stats out that are saying that is 100% true too. There are a lot of people that use drugs and alcohol to escape. But what are they escaping? People are escaping boredom. They're bored because they don't know how to do it. Reading a book is not interesting to people anymore. Whereas, in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s when we were growing up, we didn't have all this distraction of all this flashing lights. And I think that's what it is. Like, when we grew up in the 80s, we didn't have flashing phones in our faces. We didn't have flashing we had to go to a drive-in. You know what I mean? We didn't even have, Betamaxes were just brand new. We didn't have video stores and all this stuff that by 2000, everybody was just being bombarded with all this fucking technology. When it started with Betamaxes and then the cell phones and, pagers and all this stuff started coming out. So let's face it, for Gen X's, my age group, anywhere born, 65 or 64 and after, we've been bombarded with so much fucking technology. It's not a wonder we haven't all jumped off bridges, to be fair.
I agree. It's been a really hard time, and I think everyone's feeling it. But we're living kind of in these dark ages too. This is why the politics is also so insane. And
but it's because of those fucking people, Loretta. Remember I was telling you today? We have to talk about this. So there are computer-generated people that they're generating online. So this is so disturbing.
Insanity.
This is so insane. Okay, so these people are coming out. So picture a white dude speaking with a Punjabi accent, claiming that he identifies as somebody from India. So he's calling himself an Indian. That's not being a racial slur. He's declaring that he's identifying as somebody from India. And he's speaking with a Punjabi accent, yet he's white.
I know,
and then you have a black woman on there saying that she identifies as a white person. And that she's not black, she's white, and she always is identified as white. And she's offended by you call. But the worst part about it is these things aren't even real people. These are computer-animated holographs that are going on TikTok and going on YouTube and going on Facebook and going on Instagram and making these outlandish claims to stir up people's fucking anger. They're calling themselves transracial. That's what it was.
I believe it's Russia. This is like a Russian move because Russia is very interested in a coup happening in, say, the United States and pushing for that and supporting it and creating division. And also, they do this kind of troll stuff, but they like, and a lot of Republicans are all up in arms about race relations and critical race theory, which critical theory is just having a very, sharp analysis. And yes, it's critical
race
of,
theory
slavery.
is just what, fucking telling the truth?
Fucking oppression and injustice.
It's speaking the truth.
The things you should be critical of.
Like the truth.
But there's so many. There's so many crazy Christians in the States that are freaking out. That they're freaking out. They don't want their kids taught this, and they're saying it's making black kids hate white kids.
Do you know they have people that actively go to stand and protest in front of abortion clinics in the States every single day too. These people do nothing but. That's what their whole life mission is to go and stand in front of an abortion clinic with a sign in their little bag and stand there and say that God's going to love you and your baby. The minute you pop that baby out, they don't give a flying fuck about you or your baby.
I know. I know that's crazy too, but getting back to these computer-generated
right.
fake IDs, it's all to create more hostility amongst the races. I really feel like there's a negative agenda going on that's
Well, it's a
digital.
okay. So
I
they
don't know if
started
it's
with the
the digital
transgender, right? So
apocalypse,
they
but
decided
it's
they wanted to do the transgender, so now they're transracial. Because I guess if people can decide if they're going to be transgender, now this whole program is deciding that everybody should be able to decide if they're transracial. Like, I have never in my life ever thought, I don't even know what to say about that.
well again.
Like,
They
it's
just
so
I feel
disturbing.
like
It's
it's an
so
agenda to
disturbing.
create all this division.
Well, it
They want
absolutely is.
they
It
love
totally
people
is.
hating trans people. They love people hating, black people or brown people. Like it's really disgusting. It's disturbing because
I
it's like
know.
World
It really
War
is.
Three. It's World War
It's
Three.
like what is it? Racial warfare, I guess.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
it's just it's causing, like, even today on TikTok, like I was watching something and it was a live from in front of Washington because it was Indigenous Peoples Day, and there was such disgusting comments on that live from Americans.
Wow.
I just couldn't even, like, it was
What were
disgusting.
they like?
I can't even. I would not even repeat some of the comments I read. I couldn't even speak the words that these people were saying.
Wow.
I would not even repeat the stuff I read. I
That's
honestly, it was that disgusting, Loretta, that I would never even think of saying something like that. Never mind repeating it.
That is so disturbing.
That's how disgusting these people are. And like I said, but part of me is wondering, are they real? Because now, like I said, you see this computer-generated people. You see all these really nasty troll comments. And now I'm starting to wonder, like, am I arguing with somebody that's actually not even real?
That's
Like, am I arguing with a fucking computer-generated bot that's just there to get me so riled up?
yeah. It's a
So,
good
you know what,
point. That's a good
and here I
point.
am thinking, you know what, even if you are real, you're a faceless stranger that I don't know, that don't even know where you live. Why am I wasting my time arguing with you?
Good point.
Especially to an anti-vaxxer. Here's a newsflash, anti-vaxxer. I'm vaccinated ×3. There's nothing you are going to say that's going to change my mind. It's too late. You can't take the vax back. So you're wasting your time. You're preaching to somebody that, go preach to your choir. Because it's like the cannabis. And we were always talking about, how we figured this should go. And especially when we're talking to people that agree with us. We're preaching to the choir. Now you're preaching to a vaccinated person that you ain't gonna change my mind, motherfucker. I've already got the vaccination. So shut up with all your fucking research and your research from here and your Google search from there and your Google search from YouTube here and there. I don't want to see it because I've already got the vaccination and nothing you can do can take that back or change my mind.
You're right. It's probably not even a real person. Like, there's no point in having the conversation.
Even if it was, I've already been vaccinated. My family's already been vaccinated. You telling me all the things that are going to happen to me if I get vaccinated are irrelevant to me because I'm already
Meanwhile,
vaccinated.
6 billion people have been vaccinated.
140,000 children in the U.S. are orphaned because their parents have died of COVID.
Yeah. And I know. And 6 billion people with very few adverse effects, but
30%. Here's what I saw today. Here's what I saw today. It's 30% of the 99% people that get COVID. 30% of those people are long haulers. 30% of those people will never breathe the same again. And that's just the starting of the data. So far, it's 30% that are disabled after recovering from COVID. So your 99.9% recovery rate, 30% of them are fucking disabled, you stupid fucks. That leaves the recovery rate about 70%.
No, it's, I mean, that's what the deadly disease is, which could start the next war.
Misinformation.
It's really disturbing, but, I don't like... Lisa Ling, the CNN This Is Life, she did something. I watched a bit of this last night, and there was a time when, because she was focusing on, the Asian hate crimes that have been, like, hugely happening, more so this past, since COVID, because it's the Wuhan flu. Trump actually has a lot to do with spreading that. Always calling it the Hong Kong flu or the China flu or whatever.
Yeah.
And, all of these beatings. And she did some history. And there's been, like, times where Asian, Chinese people were massacred in the States. Like, it didn't... And it's not taught in history. So these psychopaths have always been there,
Look
but
what they did to the
now they're
Japanese
like
during
there's
Pearl
more of
Harbor.
them because
But
there's more
that was their
population.
justification for all of that, was Pearl Harbor. Because the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in World War II, they did it in Canada too. We had internment camps, Tabor, the whole town of
Yeah,
Tabor.
no, we have our own terrible stuff too, for sure.
They're,
But they've
you
had
know,
massacres of Chinese people in the United States
they
and
massacred
Japanese
black
people.
people
Like
in the United States.
they've
Whole
had
fucking yeah.
really intense stuff that never like, and even in like, you know, in the 1980s, some young Japanese American dude was in a bar and some dudes started a fight because the Honda or the, you know, Japanese car was like
In
making
Detroit.
the
It was in
American
Detroit.
car
Yep.
lose money, you know, dealerships or whatever, and they
Yeah,
like took a bat to his head.
Detroit became the center of
They
Asian
killed him.
activism. Yeah.
They killed him, and they never went to prison for it.
No,
like
probation
there's
and a
just, like, a lot
$3,000 fine.
you know.
I watched that too, actually,
Oh,
last
did you?
night. Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I did.
so the hateful ones have always been there. Now they find each other on Facebook and other platforms, and they're more organized and they want to kill. They seem to have that drive.
They're the pure
So,
bloods. That's
but
their
also,
new.
but
That's their
also
new name,
there's
Loretta.
trolls from Russia that are feeding this shit, and they want.
No, these
they
are
want,
Americans.
They want it to happen.
These are true Americans. They call themselves pure bloods. And that's their new code word for these patriot anti-vaxxers in the States. They're calling themselves pure bloods. And they're nurses with their little badges, and they're sitting in a shower, and they're crying and throwing away their badges. And you know what? If you're a science-denying nurse, bye. You're a science-denying teacher, bye. And if you're a public safety-denying RCMP officer, see you the fuck later too, buddy. You know what? We're getting rid of the dead weight. You know what we're doing? You know what you're doing? You're outing, because the unions might be standing behind you, except for the RCMP, and they're a shitty union anyway, and they just got started. It's a brand new fucking union. The RCMP just barely got a union. So I'll tell you how shitty it is. But all the other unions, like the QPE and all the other unions, the actually reputable ones in Canada, are standing behind the mandate. And all this is doing is actually getting rid of all the fucking shitty workers that the unions have been protecting for the last fucking decade. The lazy, stupid son of a bitches that take every sick day that they fucking possibly can. The ones that do the least they have to possibly do on the job. They have got other employers and employees that are always covering their asses. They're the ones that'll sit there with their fucking foot up in a fucking aisle and cry, "My manager's kicked my foot." Wah! I've worked with them.
Good riddance to
I've worked with them. You're dead weight. You're dead weight. Bye.
And not get a vaccine. I mean, come on.
Bye.
Like, please.
See you the fuck later. Go work at
Or
Tim
be
Hortons.
a teacher. Like,
Oh, that's
come on.
right. You can't work at Tim Hortons because you require a vaccine to work there now too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
go fucking eat a dick. A big bag of dicks. All of them. That's how fucking I am. I'm done. Suck a bag of dicks. Sorry, not sorry. This is our show. I can say that if I want to. It's explicit. Go eat a bag of dick.
It's your show, man.
It's our show. And yes, go eat a bag of dick. Like, I know I know that's not your preference, but my preference would be to be eating a dead bag of dick. That's not your preference, mine is.
No, I have no sympathy for them at all, and hopefully some good people can get some good jobs, because that means there'll be some jobs opening up. So maybe I can get a job in a long-term care facility or somewhere in the kitchen or whatever. You know, like maybe there'll be jobs. So there's opportunity.
The thing, it's not healthcare workers that are actually science deniers. It's the kitchen staff. It's laundry. It's cleaning. It's usually most of the support staff. Even with teachers and stuff, it's the EAUs. It's not the teachers. It's the assistants. It's the janitorial staff.
Yeah.
You know, even the ladies that work. Well, the kids can't even have a canteen because of COVID. Our kids can't have their canteens open. Their cafeteria canteens, anywhere they can get hot water to have a hot meal at school, they can't have that because of COVID. So thanks to COVID, our kids are eating bag lunches like we did when we were kids. And at least when I was a kid, we could boil a kettle. You can't even get hot water at school anymore because of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, because they can't share anything. They can't take their masks off, and they have to leave the school to eat. And if they're in the communal area, they've got one big lunch area down where they all sit. They're not staggered. They have 600 kids in Taven School.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's COVID in my school, and when you go in every day, there you meet the concierge, and he gives you a mask, and he makes you wipe, clean your hands with the stuff, the sanitation station, and every day you're required to throw the mask out and get a new one the next day, and he gives it, hands it to you, but with tongs. That's what happens as soon as you go in. But the cafeteria is open. People do use a microwave. And people in the cafeteria, because they're eating, they tend to put their mask down. But the teachers are making sure the windows are opening. Like I noticed, like a couple of times, the directors comes in the classroom. I think he's looking to see if somebody's like coughing or whatever, and making sure the windows are open. And they're definitely concerned.
I think the doors. Even when we took Taven for his COVID test that day last week at the health unit, we went into the room, but the door to the back of the health unit was open. Like the doors where they actually do the testing. So you're sitting in a room with a door open too. It's open, but everything is plastic and TVAC like sealed. So they close that door, but the back door is left open, right? So they're getting ventilation in the rooms where they're doing COVID tests. Because if you got a positive COVID test prior, you have somebody else coming in to get tested after, and there's no ventilation in that room. It's a possibility that you could pick up, even if you weren't positive, from somebody prior to or after, right? So they're keeping, I think ventilation's a big thing. But we've run out of time. Shut up, you guys. Sorry, my dogs are all barking now. But yeah, our time is ran up.
Gone by so fast, yes, again.
It is. Bien, bien. Right, my dear, well.
C'est mon ami.
Grandeur. Grandeur, mon ami. Grandeur, yeah.
Hour.
Yep. It was a great hour. Always is, though. Like I said, it's good that we can,
have fun.
We always do. And like I said, who knows, future projects might have you, closer. That would be awesome. So say good night to everybody. And we'll catch you all next week. And happy Turkey Day for those that celebrated that. For everybody else, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Happy Harvest. But for whatever you celebrate today, as long as you were thankful for everything and spent some time with your family. You have a good night, everybody.
For you, bud.
Me too. Ditto. Everybody have a good night. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Woohoo.
Those nights in Montreal, all I think about is weed.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada.ca. Once again, People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada.ca. Check them out.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
The People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network provides its listeners with news, information, and a place to be heard. This is done with a twice-weekly broadcast of the Reefer Reporters and by providing cannabis advocates a place to be heard through Cannabis and Coffee to Marijuana and the award-winning Pace Radio Show. Catch it all here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains, and when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed, and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
What is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network? It's a network of people advocating cannabis education.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing, harvesting, processing, and consuming quality cannabis and cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888. The only way to go.
We are People Advocating Cannabis Education here at paceradio.net.